Hello, I'm Simon Buck and welcome to my business tips series. So today we're going to talk about something called the formula for change. Now this is a fascinating one because you can use it both in life, you can use it in sales, you can use it whenever you try something a little bit different and a little bit new. But what we need to do is understand it and break it down to all of its component parts, because in order to get somebody to change, you have to go through a process. So the first thing on this side of the equation, we've got R, and R stands for resistance. Now, we all experience resistance on lower or greater levels, depending on where we are, how much of a relationship we might have with somebody, whether we've got a great supplier on board. We will forgive people things, and therefore our resistance can either be high or it can potentially be low. But the reason all this sits on the left-hand side and sits in brackets, it must be greater than the resistance in order to get somebody to change. So let's break it down a little bit more. So over here we've got D. Now D is for dissatisfaction. Now, my experience, and that probably of yourself, is that unless we're somewhat dissatisfied with either where we are, who we're buying from, the service that we're receiving, why on earth would we change? So we have to understand the dissatisfaction that's going on in somebody's head. Or we put things to people that create an element of dissatisfaction through our marketing, through our discussion. Now the next part is V. Now V stands for vision, because without a vision of where you will be once you have made the change, again, why would you move? So you have to be able to build a picture of what life will look like after the change has taken place. So again, that can be your own personal vision of what life will look like, and really sort of starting to understand it and get excited about where you want it to be. Or sometimes it's the vision that somebody paints for you. You know, life could look better. Or sometimes we don't know until an alternative is put in front of us. So that's dissatisfaction and vision. You can see there is a time signal there because these are out of 10. So if you create dissatisfaction, or you find it, and if you can create or communicate vision, these can both be out of 10. Now, but then we've got this plus F. Now, F stands for first steps. Without the easiest possible first step, again, people will create additional resistance. So let's take somebody who decides they want to run a marathon, for instance. So the resistance, well, there's plenty. But I suppose there's dissatisfaction potentially with where they are. There's potentially dissatisfaction with the amount of money that it might be able to raise for somebody. There's a will to want to do it. The vision is, what will it look like when you pass the line? What will it look like when you've transformed your own kind of health and well-being? What would it look like when you reach the goal? However, nobody goes out and runs 26 miles day one. So what's the first step that you can do? How do you break it down into small component chunks that are small enough to be able to do something with? So if you take that back to business, how easy do we become to buy from? If somebody gets dissatisfied and they've got a vision, but we make it hard for them, well, then we haven't created easy first steps. So how do we create the easiest small first step in order for somebody to lower their resistance and to potentially be able to say yes to us? So have a think about the change formula. Have a think about how you sell, how you market, how you communicate with people, and whether you position things internally, even sometimes within your team, when they're going through a change process. Understanding the psychology that sits behind the formula will unlock its true potential. Thanks very much.